Hello, Charlie. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Camila.
It's so great to be here with you today. I want to say thank you for accepting my invitation. I have been watching your channel, as you already know, and as you already know, I love the progress you've been making. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. I'm here speaking in English to a native speaker. I love the
It's
progress.
fine.
So I love that you've been sharing your progress and you've been inspiring me, and I know you've been inspiring others as well. So first of
Oh,
all, I would like to ask you to talk a little bit about you, introduce yourself. Uh, where are you from? I already know that. And how long have you been posting videos on YouTube? How long have you been learning Spanish? Would you talk a little bit about
sh
that?
sure. My name's Charlie. I live in Texas. I'm actually from Louisiana, but I moved to Texas after Hurricane Katrina. Um, let's see. I started learning Spanish in September of 2019, and so it's this September makes 2 years.
Oh,
And yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, so I've been on italki for about a year and a half, maybe. And I'm
mhm.
really a shy person. So when I find a teacher, I stick to the same teacher every week, like clockwork, and we've become friends. It takes me a while to really open up. Even right now,
Yeah.
I'm really nervous. I'm
Oh,
really nervous too.
me too. Me too. But at least you're
So
speaking on your native language.
yeah, well,
Yeah, you
I've
have that
watched.
advantage.
Thank you. But the way that I grew up, I've listened to some of your lessons speaking in English to another person from Brazil, and the conversations that you've had in English, I can only dream of right now of having in Spanish.
Oh, wow.
So
Thank you, Charlie.
yeah,
Yeah, but me too. My Spanish, wow, it will take me years. But I have been studying English for almost 2 decades. So my
wow.
English should be better. It should be better. Just recently, I started to have conversations with native speakers, and it's been a challenge. So I'm sure that once you're studying Spanish a little bit more, and me too, we'll be there. We'll be speaking about such deep topics
Yeah,
yeah,
like depression.
like
That
depression.
was
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, but what made me start the channel actually was that I was in Peru 2 years ago. And then I was there and I was still working. I'm also a teacher, I teach Portuguese. And I was there sort of like a nomad, a digital nomad. And so I would work during the daytime. And at nights, I would have you ever used couch surfing? Do you know what that is?
no, what's that?
So couch surfing, you could use for traveling. You could use to meet locals, or you could use to live in their houses. I have never used to sleep in their couches, never. But there are a part of the app where you could post invitations and said, so hi, I am in Rio and I'm up for a beer. So other foreigners or locals, they could meet you for beer. You tell them where you are. It could be a little bit dangerous too. I thought it would,
Right.
but it was okay. So I discovered that app in Peru, in Lima. No, actually, I discovered it in Rio. Someone recommended it in Rio. So I would use that app to see what people would been up to. They would go to, uh, como se dice plaza, piazza,
Mm,
squares,
square.
squares.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
they'll go to squares. And so I would go to, and I didn't speak Spanish back then, but as I speak Portuguese and Spanish are pretty similar, so I would try to change. So for example, in Spanish, heart is corazón, and in Portuguese is coração. So coração, corazón, And then I would think, okay, so every word in Spanish that ends with on, no, sorry, in Portuguese, words that ends with são, in Spanish ends with zon. And then I would try to make up some words, and most of the cases would work. So I would speak Portuguese with a Spanish intonation, but it didn't take me very far. So I remember this day that I met an incredible person. He was a life coach from Peru, and we were walking down the street, and then I would try to speak to him in Spanish, and he was trying to explain his job, his some experiences that he has with his clients, and then I thought, wow, that if I could only understand that, it could be a life-changing experience, but I couldn't. So
Yeah.
I came home to Brazil, and then I thought, I want to be able to have deep conversations, because maybe I think people might have something very important to share that could potentially change your life, or maybe I'm too idealistic to, I don't know. But
No, you're absolutely right.
if you don't understand their language, how could you know what they have to share?
Mhm.
And then I would like to ask you, Charlie, what made you want to learn Spanish? Why Spanish? Is that a motive, a
My
special reason?
Well, yes, my dad was from Honduras, and I never learned to speak Spanish. I've always wanted to learn to speak Spanish my entire life, because there's Spanish speakers in my family. And
Wow.
and other than listening to songs and seeing family for holidays,
Mhm.
Spanish wasn't really in my life. There was always this want for it, and because honestly, I never knew I was as dyslexic growing up. We just thought out I was slow or something like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I always tried and maybe learned a few words, like from Rosetta Stone or something like that,
Mhm.
and that was it. It wasn't until I just drew a line in the sand, I guess almost 2 years ago, that I said
Wow.
I'm gonna really try it, and I've been happy to say I'm still doing it, but still
Yeah.
struggling with it.
Wow. Do you consider yourself a very motivated person when you set your mind onto something? Do you do it? How? Because me, I do need a public, how do you say, a compromise, public announcement. So for me, this channel was like, okay, so from now on, I'm going to do that. And then I started doing. How was that for you? How is it for you with motivation in Spanish?
Yes, I'm very motivated. I'm very motivated with a few things in my life. There's a few things I could always use some more motivation for. Like I wish I was motivated to jog every day or something like that. But
It's true. It's true.
but that does not get me motivated.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with Spanish, it after I had been learning and started taking my first italki lessons, that was about 6 to 7 months into me really learning Spanish. I remember trying to say stuff to people, and that was motivating,
Mhm.
So I'm motivated with it right now, and I'm glad that hasn't been squashed out of me.
Wow. And about italki, how did you came across? How did you come across italki? And do you still remember your first lesson? Was it
Oh
with
my
your teacher, with your
It
current
was
teacher?
it
Ah,
it was with my teacher from Venezuela, Gabriel, and I recorded that one using I think I recorded that one using Skype, and I didn't know anything about how to record the screens and stuff like that, so it didn't record him speaking, only me speaking.
cool.
And so it's
Yeah.
it's it's a one-way conversation that is really broken. It is really, really broken.
So it's not possible to hear Gabriel? So just you?
Just myself, yeah. It's
Wow, that's a cool memory. Cool memory
So
to have. Hmm.
yeah. Um, yeah. No, I I really remember my first lesson.
Yeah,
It
and
was right here in this room.
yeah, and why did you decide it? Why did you decide to take an italki lesson? So you have heard of italki before, and
Y-
what made you book
Yes.
this lesson?
So at that point, I had been doing Rosetta Stone and Duolingo, two apps. Rosetta Stone I had for years, but and never did it, and then bought it as an app on my phone.
Hmm.
And so I was doing Rosetta Stone and Duolingo every day on my phone for 6 months, and then got it into watching YouTube videos. And I came across a YouTube channel of a polyglot who was in a park speaking, dozens of languages, and he gave an italki, I guess, promotion or something like that on his channel, and
Hmm.
that was when I heard of italki. It was from a YouTube channel.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I guess I've heard of italki. Actually, I've heard before of hearing about italki. I heard about a Philippine, it was a Philippine website for practicing English. I wanted to speak with a native. So I was living with my parents in a very small city in Brazil. And then I was searching like teacher online, Skype lessons. Then I came across a website in the Philippines, but they wouldn't use cameras there. And I felt
Mhm.
like it makes the whole difference to see the other person, to talk. And then I kept searching like Skype lessons with video. And then eventually I found italki, and then I'm still with my first teacher. Her name is Dot. I am posting lessons with her. It's amazing. It's been, for
Is
me,
she
it's been,
she from the UK?
yeah. Have you seen her? Yeah.
I have seen that.
Yeah.
But I watch the English lessons too.
Really? Don't you get bored
I
with,
I feel like they do help me, but I watched two other Brazilians learning English on a website called
really?
Camly, and they post their lessons all the time.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, but why? It's just out of curiosity, or to um, because sometimes I do watch other people learning, for example, you, and I do think you should post more of your lessons. You post
Wow.
sometimes, you post your
Yeah.
progress, that I appreciate, but you could post more Gabriel lessons. I'd love to watch
Okay.
them. Yeah.
I probably have 100 of his lessons recorded.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So what I do, so for example, when I watch your lessons, for example, I take notes, and I can see that sometimes other learners' difficulties are my own, like remembering words,
Oh my
conjugating.
goodness.
But
Oh my
I do
goodness.
think
Yeah.
you are tremendously good with the verbs. I envy you. You, how how did you study the Spanish conjugation? Because I do think you, like the past, I learned so much from you with like conjugating the past, the tenses.
Oh,
I'm not
really?
good, at tenses, at conjugating. Mm-mm.
I
Up
still
until
struggle
now,
with it too.
I don't know how to conjugate the verb decir. Just yo digo, tú dices, es eso. Pero if I have to say él dijo, ella dijo, él dijo, yo dijo, no sé con,
That's it. I think that's it. But
no, ¿sí?
so okay, yeah.
No,
Don't listen to me.
I don't know, but I
That
truly
would be
don't know.
fine if we were speaking in Spanish and you said that. That would be fine for me. So
Yeah, cool,
don't listen to me. I'll never correct you.
cool. You're kind. You're kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what is your, I know that you study using Duolingo. I know you study using Rosetta Stone, but how do you organize your time? How much time do you put into Spanish? Um, what do you do? How do you study Spanish?
So every day I do Duolingo.
Mhm.
I stopped doing Rosetta Stone a couple of months ago just just because my job has been too busy lately too. But I try to do 30 minutes to an
Mhm,
hour on
mhm,
Duolingo.
mhm,
That's really where I learn vocabulary and conjunctions, honestly.
mhm.
It's like it really does help me. But on italki, I used to do three des 3 lessons during the week and then try to do whatever lessons I could on the weekends. Um, but I fix hail damage for a living. I don't know if you know what that is. In Spanish, it's granizo.
So it rains granizo there?
Yes, yes.
Wow. So
Sometimes.
how did that impact your lesson? So in your
So
house?
it damages cars, and I fix
Oh,
cars that have
okay.
dents in them. If they have damage from hail, granizo,
Okay.
um, then
So
I
it's
I
common.
fix it.
It happens
Yeah.
often.
It happens regularly here
Wow.
in the States. Yeah, not
Wow.
every day, but once every couple of years, a lot of cities get big hailstorms.
Wow. Okay. So you were really busy at work, so you
Yeah,
had to short still.
yeah, even right now, it's going to take a year to finish fixing all the cars. So right now,
God.
um, yeah, right now I'm not able to take as many lessons as I want to, but I take 1 hour every week with Gabriel and 2 hours on the weekends.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you learn with so during the lessons you practice your speaking and your listening,
Mhm.
and with Duolingo you learn vocabulary and you repeat them.
Vocabulary.
Yeah, I notice you repeat a lot. So when you share your videos with Duolingo, so you listen even when they're not asking you to repeat, you still do.
Oh yeah. Yes, yes. Constantly repeating. And so I got into that because even when I don't use the mic, I still repeat everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I repeat everything all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
No, it's great advice. It's great advice. I must confess, I have a certain prejudice.
Mhm.
Do I say
Prej-
towards Duolingo or about Duolingo? Help me. I have
uh,
with Duolingo, it's a
uh, pre-
prejudice
prejudice towards Duolingo.
towards.
Okay.
Thank you, Charlie. Prejudice
Or
towards
against, if you don't like it, against
against.
Duolingo. Yeah.
So I have some prejudice against Duolingo. It's changing because of you, but I used to have it really strongly. I wouldn't recommend it to my students, for example, because because sometimes I guess the vocabulary you could learn are immense. Like it's too much, and sometimes I have used rapidly like for a short amount of time, and then Duolingo was teaching me words like um, I don't know, words that I would never use in normal life. Like, and then I thought, no, it's taking too much of my brain space. I don't have space for this. And they were repeating those words that I would never use. So I decided not to use it. So usually what I do is I try to have conversations about topics that I would have in normal life. And I sometimes make notes and I try to prepare presentations. So I watch videos, I learn new words, and I try to
Mhm.
talk about those new words that I've learned. Um, and that's it. But when I was in Peru, actually, I didn't know how to use fork, knife, things like that, that I'm sure you learn in Duolingo, right? Plate,
Yes.
glass. Because in videos, those words, they don't come up. And then I thought, yeah, well, I should have I should know those words. I remember my fork fall into the ground and in the floor, and I wanted to ask a replacement, another, and then I had to point, and then I felt stupid, like waitress, another, otro,
Yeah.
por favor, otro. I didn't know.
No, I definitely understand that. I still mix those up for the first year. Even after I
Yeah,
knew those words, y- I could make the mistake.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. but yeah, repetition is king. Like it's what we
Mhm.
should do. And I guess Duolingo does that very well. And also you pay a subscription. And I've been willing to ask you, what is the difference between the paid version and the free version?
So if you're on a phone, from this is what I understand. If you're on the phone, every single lesson you do, you have to watch an ad first.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, if you make 5 mistakes, you'll end up having to watch ads to be able to have lessons to build up hearts. A heart is a mistake on it's
Mm-hmm.
like a game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you pay for it, then you don't have to watch any ads and you can make 20 mistakes in one day and
Mm-hmm.
it's no problem.
20. And then you should
Or
watch
as many
ads.
as you want. No,
Oh,
you
okay.
don't have to watch any ads
Okay.
at all.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it's worth it, I think. Yeah.
Maybe. But if you
Yeah.
use a computer for it, from what I understand, if you use a computer on Duolingo, there's really no difference
Okay.
between the paid version and the free version. The ads
Mhm.
are on the side and you can just do as many lessons as you want anyway.
And ignore them. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And another question, Charlie, I have for you. What is the most difficult thing for you in Spanish? Is it speaking? Personally, for me, it is speaking. Because it's similar to Portuguese, I can listen and understand, but the verbs, the grammar, oh my God, the reflexive verbs. wh-
Reflexive.
what are the challenge, the most challenged thing for you when it comes to Spanish speaking, um, grammar? What is it for you?
The grammar and reflexives are are so hard for me to get my brain around and speak like that.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course the same problems I have in English is reading and writing.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, yeah, everything,
Grammar.
grammar,
It's
vocabulary.
a huge challenge. Yeah, to learn
Yeah,
a language is it's a challenge, is a big challenge. As I told you with English, is a lifelong process. Is something that we'll probably be doing for decades. Still learning, always learning.
I agree.
And yeah, and have you been to Honduras? You said your father is
I
from
never
there.
have.
Have you
No,
visited any country speaking
no,
Spanish country?
I, I've never visited another country. I've been to a border town in Mexico. That's not like visiting Mexico though. I've been in Mexico for a couple of hours. So it's that's not the same. And but no, I've never gone somewhere I needed to speak Spanish or got a chance to practice Spanish. I'm looking
Would you?
forward to it.
Yeah, I wanted to
Yeah.
ask
Oh,
you,
I'm
would you like to?
absolutely I absolutely would. My wife is from Colombia, South America.
Really?
Yeah.
She's a Spanish speaker?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God, you are surrounded by Spanish.
Yeah, and I still get 90% of 95% of my practice is from Duolingo and italki.
She won't
So,
speak, she won't practice with
so
you.
no, we're starting to now, but I think once I can speak more fluently, I will really be able to speak with her and get better and better. But
Mhm.
the process right now, I think I need teachers.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. As a Portuguese speaker, at the beginning, when I started teaching Portuguese some years ago, uh, I wouldn't understand why the the partners, my students' partners, they wouldn't practice with their partners because I always thought, hey, if I were married to a foreigner, I would definitely practice Portuguese with them. But now I sort of get it. I guess when you meet someone and you meet them in a language, their relationship has that personality. So you're used to speaking in that language. It's not the same like changing the language. Also, I don't know how Spanish speakers are native, but Brazilians, they don't have patience. They don't like to teach. They correct, they're not very patient. So now I get why my students won't practice with their partners, and also they are a little bit shy, I guess. I
Yeah,
get
no,
now.
we've been married 18 years or 19 years, and we've always spoken English.
Yeah. So it's a challenge. It's difficult to change that. Yeah. And time is passing really quick, really fast. So I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
Um, so what would you say are the the frustrations with learning another language, and also the, I want to say benefits, I want to say alegrias, the happiness of
Oh,
learning?
yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah,
joys.
the joys. Thank you, Charlie. What are the joys and the frustrations for you?
The joys, well, the frustrations are of course the same frustrations that anyone has when they're trying to learn a language. Is sometimes you feel stupid, even though no one, other than maybe kids who would make fun of anybody, no one no one thinks you're stupid when you're learning another language.
No.
Everyone is really kind.
Yeah.
But it's still really frustrating when you've been practicing and you've been learning for so long, and then I can only have conversations where my side is only one sentence and someone else can speak now, and I'm really happy I can understand from most of what they're saying. But when I speak, maybe I can say one sentence.
Hmm.
That's a frustration and a joy at the same time. But the real joys are here here in the United States. There's plenty of people who don't speak English and who speak Spanish. And I've worked around many of them for years. And I've I've made new relationships in person at the places that I work with people who speak Spanish, and they know that I'm learning, and now they always speak to me in Spanish. And
Oh,
And so making new relationships like that in Spanish in a new language. And these people were around me for years, and now we're able to become friends.
wow, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Where are they from?
From Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here from Mexico, and you know, there's some of the best people that you could ever meet, honestly, you know.
Wow, that's special. I'm used to hearing stories like that from my students, that since they started learning Portuguese, they would go to places and then they would make friends because they would hear people speaking Portuguese, something that would go by like a notice before, but then they would say, "Oh, eh, I'm learning Portuguese," and then they would make connections and friends, and that's so amazing. That, for me, it's really incredible. This, I don't know, possibility of
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
connections.
world, the
Yeah,
world of connections.
yeah. And
Yeah.
actually, I have one last question, I promise.
No, it's fine. We're doing
The-
good.
yeah. Do you think that after Spanish, will you learn another language?
I've been saying that, yeah, I would love to learn Portuguese after Spanish.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that a
Yeah.
reason?
Yeah, 3 years ago, I made a tool for work. And in Brazil, what I do for a living is pretty popular. I don't know what it's called there, but here it's called paintless dent repair. We fix dents in cars. I don't know if you know what dents are, abolladoras in Spanish, but
I don't know the word. Very
dañado,
specific.
como it's kind of a dent,
Okay, okay.
golpe or algo así.
See, see. Okay,
Uh,
can have an idea. But
dent, like if
with
someone opens a door of one car and hits another car, it leaves a dent, not a scratch in the paint, just a
uh-huh,
bend in the
uh-huh,
metal.
uh-huh. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Okay. We fix those without having to repaint the vehicles.
Okay. But
Yeah.
in Brazil, do we
In
have to
in
paint?
Brazil, no, in Brazil it's becoming popular also. And
Mm.
there's a guy, Sergio Martinello,
Mm-hmm.
He has a shop in Brazil, and he invented a tool, and we were friends on Facebook, on Messenger, and I used to have to use the translator, you know, to speak with him and have conversations. And when we had a giant show for our industry in
Mm-hmm.
Orlando, a trade show,
Mm-hmm.
he came to Orlando, and I went to Orlando too. So we ended up meeting there. And there's a lot of people in my industry who speak Portuguese. I would love to speak
Oh,
Portuguese too.
that's so interesting. But the good the greatest news is that it's very similar to Spanish. So the grammar, it the pronunciation is different, but it won't take you long after
Yeah.
Spanish to learn Portuguese. Or Italian or French. They're the
I
same family.
and I think I just want to get to like an A1 in Portuguese.
You already have it. You already have it. Just by speaking Spanish. I can share with you later some sentences in Portuguese. You see that just you are you have already A2 in Portuguese just by speaking Spanish. Easy.
Wow.
Like so, yeah, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Charlie, thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation interview, sort of
No,
like,
thank you.
thank
Yeah,
you.
no, it's fun. I wanted to bring up one more thing, and it was one of the reasons that I watch also other people learning English.
Hmm.
And because around you, so I since I'm learning Spanish, and I have a lot of people and friends around me who don't know any Spanish, and they over the last year they see what I've been able to do and try and practice, and to them I'm just speaking Spanish. Like, oh,
Wow.
they're like, oh, I heard you just speak Spanish now, even though when you're doing it you're really struggling to say something or to understand anything. And so I started wanting to watch people learn English to be able to explain to them that, okay, so you see how they're speaking English right now, and you can tell they're really struggling to say that. Now, all of their friends who don't speak English are going, oh, you just speak English now.
Yeah.
so, so
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn. I wanted to take the easy route to see the struggles people are having learning the language instead of
Yeah.
being in those struggles.
Yeah. No, yeah. You're and also I think that once we learn other languages, we see how non-natives actually struggle, right? Because I'm sure um, in your state, especially, there are a lot of immigrants, right? And
Mhm.
they are trying their best to speak the language. And sometimes people who might only speak one language, they don't realize how difficult it actually is. So, uh, so for example, I am taking a meditation course in English every Wednesday, and my meditation teacher, he's American, and we have groups where we practice together, where they call pod. I guess pod means that we meet and we explain what we did during that week. I guess it's me and an American and a Canadian woman. They are both in their 60s, or maybe
Okay.
not. One of them, it might be the other in their 40s or 50s. I don't know, but it's different because they don't
Okay.
speak other languages. So they will use sometimes words that I do understand them by their context. But when I speak with you, for example, I don't know if you're doing that consciously or not, but I can
Oh yeah.
understand you perfectly. Maybe because you know I'm not a native. Maybe you're not using with me words that you would use with your friends, maybe. But you know that
Maybe.
because you're learning Spanish, you know that you might need to slow down, you might need to be careful of what you say. But those two people, I love them. I'm not saying that they're great people, but I
Yeah.
guess as they have never learned another language, they will sometimes use words that I'm like, whoa, but I make notes and then I search them. So it's always a learning experience.
That's amazing. That's amazing too. Making notes, that's something that I need to start doing. Since I'm a dyslexic, I don't really make notes. I don't jot down notes or things like that. And I can show you here. This is my cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, I got the languages Spanish and English on my phone down here, this
Mm-hmm.
bottom left. So
Mm-hmm.
if it's in English, when I speak, oh, I turned my phone off accidentally. When I speak, hello, how are you? This will type out everything that I want to say and just spell it correctly for me. So that's how I write. But if I want to speak in Spanish, this is also the way that I do it. And it's the reason my pronunciation from the very beginning is, I think, a little better than the typical American.
Mm.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Esto es uno de las aplicaciones que yo uso para escribir correcto.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, your R it does not sound like the American R when they are learning Portuguese or Spanish. It's
Yeah.
very good. Yeah. And you also the r, you can do it like para.
Yeah.
See? Yeah.
No, I can't roll it.
You-
Yo puedo hacerlo un poco.
Puede hacerlo muy bien, muy bien. Para mí,
Carro.
carro. R,
No,
carro.
I can't do it like that. Carro.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
it. That's it. But that's it. Carro.
It's different. That's as long as mine can be. Carro.
Hmm.
It's just,
But
it
it's
can be any
perfect.
longer.
But it's perfect. That's how they say. For me, the hardest thing is to say corregir, corregir, things like that.
Corregir.
Yeah,
Corregir.
corregir. Alrededor, alrededor. The L in Portuguese, the L, we read like U. So for example, we would say Brasil. You see, Brasil. This type
Brazil.
of, yeah, exactly. So this Brasil, L, for me, alrededor. Difícil, fácil, cualquiera. Es difícil para mí, muy difícil.
Wow.
Sí. I have my struggles. Like it would take me years to speak
How
Spanish.
many years,
Mm.
how long have you been learning Spanish?
I officially it's been some weeks, but I have yeah, it's been some weeks officially like having lessons, but I love Mexican soap operas. So I have watched several Mexican soap operas. So I have listened, and I was actually a fan of a Mexican group called RBD. I was a huge fan. They did this soap opera, and then I would go to their concerts. It's so I've been like listening, and also I'm here in South America. Sometimes we watch Argentinian soap operas as well, translated, but I would look them up in Spanish. So
The Argentinian accent is very difficult.
yeah, it is. Do you think of like learning other accents? You have Gabrielle, you have other teachers as well, right?
From Colombia.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would love to learn. If I could learn 3 accents, it would probably be something pretty neutral. Um, and honestly, the Puerto Rican accent and the Mexican accent.
Hmm. They're beautiful. They're
I
beautiful.
know I don't think that I would be able to speak with those accents, but if there's a few things that I can say with those accents,
Hmm.
I'll work on that later.
Hmm. Yeah,
After those
yeah.
reflexives.
Oh my God, tell me about them. Yeah, yeah. So Charlie, I wanted to say
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for agreeing again to be with me. I have learned a lot. You can see that I'm overly excited. I'm very excited to be here with you.
I
So
enjoyed it. I really did. Thank you,
Thank
Camila.
you. And let's keep in touch. Let's keep talking about our learning. It's been a
Okay.
pleasure watching. It's been a pleasure to be watching you. So
Yeah.
keep posting, keep updating us, inspiring us. Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. You have a great evening.
You too.
Bye
Mm.
bye.